know nothing? This is Paris!
When a piece of media becomes popular, there is one thing that always holds true. That being, someone involved is going to find ways to squeeze as much money out of it as possible. Sometimes it's through unwarranted sequels and spin-offs, sometimes it's through ridiculous amounts of merchandising and toys, and sometimes it's through the development of a licensed game.
So we're gonna do a really cool trick called a fart boost jump.
A licensed game is any sort of spin-off playable experience based on a pre-existing property, with them most commonly taking the form of a video game in the modern day. That's not to say they didn't exist before though. If you've ever gone to an arcade and seen a pinball machine touting the name of Ghostbusters or Mario, you'll have seen the oldest variants of licensed games. The concept of the licensed game has been around forever, and video game consoles have only made them more prevalent and accessible. However, being based on a popular IP does not in any capacity relate to quality. Most people will find licensed video games to be lackluster at best and actively awful at worst, and it's no surprise why. Typically, these games sport a minuscule development time in order to line up with the release of the associated property to capitalize on sales. This more often than not leads to janky controls, poor graphical quality, glitchy gameplay, and just a general lack of care in the final product relative to a quote-unquote actual video game. Now that's not to say that every video game based on a movie or show or comic book is inherently going to suck and lack polish. The Telltale Walking Dead games, the Kingdom Hearts games, and the Harry Potter games, particularly the earlier ones and the LEGO versions, all got pretty favorable reviews overall. Heck, the Nintendo 64 version of GoldenEye won Game of the Year upon its release and still holds up to this day. But these tend to be the exception rather than the norm, particularly when you compare them to the likes of Barbie games, the Simpsons games, or the unholy abomination that was Superman 64. But when you're a kid, who are often the targets of these, you might not be able to right away tell that what you're playing is a piece of crap. So when I was a wee little thief playing on my Nintendo 64, and I spotted a game based on a movie I liked, I was ecstatic to be able to experience even more of that property. And that's how I ended up with this. Rugrats in Paris, the movie, the video game. Yeah. In a funny twist, this cash grab video game is also based on a cash grab movie, seeing as Rugrats in Paris, or Rugrats 2, was the sequel to the first Rugrats movie and the original series. The movie focuses on Chucky Finster, who is starting to miss having a mom, so his father, Chaz, decides to start dating again. At the same time, Stu Pickles, Tommy's father, is called to France's version of the Reptarland theme park to fix the titular Reptar Mecha, and he inexplicably takes all his friends with him. Well, almost all his friends. The sole black character in the Rugrats cast for some reason wasn't included in this adventure.
Suspicious.
Now I won't spend too much time on this movie since it honestly has oddly very little to do with the video game based on it, but I will mention that this is the film that introduced us to Kimmy and added her to the main Rugrats cast. Overall, the movie is okay. It's a serviceable film at best, but I don't think anyone expected it to be much of a masterpiece, which only makes the video game adaptation look all the less promising, especially considering some of the more questionable scenes it has to work with.
Toot toot! Ah! Beep beep! Toot toot! Ah! Beep beep!
Well, now that we know what we're in for, let's take a look at the licensed game adaptation of Rugrats in Paris.
Oh good, sendin's a clown.
After wading through the sea of logos that accompany the start of every licensed game, we are promptly greeted with this. Boy, really didn't put much effort into the menu there, guys. I guess they figured name brand was enough so that they didn't have to make the startup screen look appealing, but damn. Well, okay, maybe I'm being too harsh. After all, it's just the main menu. The actual game is what matters. Maybe they put more effort into how things look and sound there. I mean, after all, they were proud enough of their voice compression technology to draw attention to it in the credits. I'm sure we can expect high quality for—
Usually you're a reptile amusement park the happily place, but not today.
What the hell was that?
Oh my god, what is this? The characters sound like they're speaking through a fan!
Forget that. I'm just here for the rides.
I haven't heard voice clips this bit crushed since that pirated Hercules for Sega Genesis. I know audio quality wasn't as crisp in the N64 and PS1 days as it is now, but half the time whatever these characters are saying is completely unintelligible. the audio balancing is so screwed up that the music overpowers whatever can be heard half the time anyway. Also, why is Angelica's mouth on her chin? Was she a Muppet? Okay, if you understandably couldn't parse whatever was being said, apparently RoboSnail has kidnapped the princess and is holding her captive. And the Rugrats have tasked themselves with getting access to a special helmet that will let them communicate with Reptar so they can save her. This is a pretty serious departure from the film's plot, which only involved the RoboSnail vs Reptar kaiju battle as an obstacle on the way to save Chucky's dad, but whatever, I suppose. Anything that keeps us away from those sumo wrestler waiters is preferred.
This place got the biggest babies I ever saw.
That's gotta be one stinky diaper.
Alright, after that intro cutscene, we get to choose our player character. Let's go with Best Girl Angelica, of course. I can't wait to get started with this fun and exciting adventure. Oh god! Oh Jesus! Oh no! Yes, everyone, we are saddled with tank controls.
No! God, please, no! No!
Now, I've gone on record defending tank controls in the past. Heck, one of my favorite games of all time has this control scheme. But in that game, you have multiple options for speed and maneuverability, as well as a button that instantly centered the camera behind you to guide your movements at all times. Here, well, you don't have anything. That's right, in the overworld, the only buttons available to you are your inventory. Nothing for jumping, sprinting, camera controls, nope. Good luck, bucko, you're gonna be slowly toddling around this barren wasteland getting stuck on random geometry for the next few hours. Speaking of, does anyone else find it weird and a little unsettling that, like, no one is here? I mean, this is a theme park, right? Where are the other patrons? No NPCs? No other Rugrats or their parents? Not even Spike the dog? Where is everyone? Well, maybe this is actually a psychological horror game. A Rugrats Silent Hill crossover, if you will. My goodness, I think we need to start a ticket near miss counter at this rate with how many of these I'm just barely managing to avoid. Post these tickets to r/hitboxporn because they are matrixing their way out of my clunky little toddler hands each time. Oh good, this game is advocating that toddlers get on the train by themselves, huh? I see. So it looks like we have 5 total park locations we can visit. Oh well, Ooey Gooey World is the only one explicitly based on a scene from the movie, so let's start our adventure there. I'll give this game credit for having unique collision to these slime drops if they hit a character's head.
This is no place for a princess.
Each area has unique minigames that you can earn gold tickets at to buy the Reptar helmet, and Ooey Gooey Worlds are all themed around slime bumper cars. In one game you collect balloons, and in the other you have to activate the various horrifying slime creatures to play their song simultaneously. Nothing like a good punt to wake these demons from their hellish slumber. The controls here are somehow even more slippery than the overworld, and my goodness are you slow. Half the challenge of this second minigame is just managing to maneuver through this clown digestive tract. Okay, let's try Reptar Island next. Oh Jesus, do we need to start a stuck on geometry counter too? Sure, why not at this rate? God damn it, free me! Ooh, okay, this place looks scary. I bet we're gonna enter into some cool magma roller coaster thing, or maybe a platforming section, or... skee ball. Get the balls into Reptar's mouth. Well, alright, if you insist. Did I break it? I think I broke- oh, okay. There's also 3 different bumper car games in this location, and yes, they do control just as terribly as you'd expect them to.
Woo! Bumper cars!
The first one involves you fighting over pucks to feed your Reptar versus a questionably offensive enemy.
At least I know the other name. I see.
Excuse me, the f did you just say?
I'd call this racist, but I have no idea what race it's supposed to be offending. By the way, you can totally cheese this level by just waiting for the ninja to score a bunch of goals and then bullying him to get balloons, which count as points. It seems even Rugrats in Paris is not free from cheese strats. The other games involve collecting balloons and assaulting enemies with more pucks, and if you were to play multiplayer, this is where your little sibling would finally get a chance to pick up their controller and verse you. You okay there, Chucky? Need some help?
No! I got cold moon!
You know, I think someone should tell the devs of this game that the yellow buttons on the side are meant for camera controls and not, you know, pucks. Princess Theater is next with some generic Asian aesthetic. I can tell this is where the weebs would flock if this game didn't take place in some post-apocalypse where everyone has been wiped out except Angelica. Speaking of ninjas, there's some more here, and we have to hit them with cookies? I'll give this minigame credit that it controls way better than the baseball throwing one back at the main entrance, but the premise is just bizarre. Oh well, golden ticket get.
This is more fun than taking candy from a baby, and I should know.
Probably the best minigame in this entire cursed experience is the Chucky Chan one. This is based on the dream sequence from the movie where Chucky becomes a martial arts expert that would make Po from Kung Fu Panda blush. The minigame is a lot less fluid than I remember it, but I'll give it credit for at least trying, even if the collision is janky as hell and pretty much never in your favor. As a kid, I remember loving the golf minigame over at Golf Park, so let's head there next. But before that, let's quickly do some breaking and entering. Wait, could it be? Oh my god! Another human! It's Kimmy! Quick, Kimmy, speak to me! Help me know I'm not a ghost! I wish I had a Reptar basketball. I'd even trade this gold ticket for it. Kimmy, weren't you the one who said that we need to get the helmet to rescue the princess? Why are you over here hoarding gold tickets when we need those? Is this really the time for basketballs? Alright, let's play some golf. I'm all warmed up for Mario Golf for the Switch, and I'm ready to... Oh, it's mini golf. Well, alright, as long as it controls well. At the very least, these tiny levels that the golfing takes place in are pretty well designed and unique. I especially like how many of them have these little trapdoors you can use as shortcuts. They're all pretty cool, except this one. What is this? Where are we? Who left this child unattended at the top of a mountain? While we're going through this golf segment, this seems like the best time to address the development of this game. Some of you might be watching this and thinking, wait, this isn't how I remember the Rugrats in Paris game I played. Well, that's likely because you might have played a different version. There were actually 3 different versions of this game released across 4 platforms. The PlayStation 1, the N64, the Game Boy Color, and then lastly PC a few years later. The PS1 and N64 versions were the same, but the Game Boy Color and PC versions were drastically different, opting out of open-world gameplay to just side-scrolling levels and minigames. I'll also give credit that they actually were able to get most of the original voice cast to reprise their roles for the games, considering licensed games rarely can do this and have to pull in mimics. There's not much information available regarding the development of this game, but it's worth noting that one of the main developers on the console versions was Avalanche Software, who are notorious for making licensed games of varying levels of quality. Alright, we finally accumulated enough red tickets to get some minor prizes, including the basketball for that stingy Kimmy. We can also get these puzzle pieces, which are the absolute easiest way to get gold tickets in the game. Alright, Kimmy, here's your freaking basketball. A la Zelda, for some reason. We finally got enough gold tickets to get the helmet and face off against RoboSnail. Let's do this. The whole game has been building up for this moment. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, he's... Oh. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, what the hell is that? I didn't expect this to suddenly become a Dark Souls boss. Okay, maybe that try was a fluke. Let's try again.
Here's a real high-class bout. Now go!
Well, maybe we can try... Wait, why is the mech breathing? That's genuinely unsettling, game. Please don't do that. Also, somehow this boss fight got a lot easier randomly. I hope the residents of Paris don't mind me using their buildings as a shield. Hey, we did it! We saved the incredibly fake-looking princess and have successfully terrorized the citizens of France through the power of a tiny brat in a giant kaiju mech. What a great day to be American. Alright, well, that was a time. Hey, I'm curious, how many tickets would we need if we played this on very hard? It can't be that many, after all, this is a game for kids. 26? Hell no! Not with these controls! This game is a train wreck that is coasting by largely on nostalgia and pure nonsense value. The controls are absolute the worst part of this experience, ranging from clunky to slippery, often within the same minigame. And it's also just bizarrely difficult for no reason. I can't tell if that's because of the bad controls or if I'm that much of a filthy casual, but it doesn't feel enjoyable when you lose minigames because you couldn't line up a cursor right. And I've already gone over the abysmal use of tank controls and the audio mixing issues. I'm willing to give this game credit that it's an older title and probably had a rush production if the release dates are anything to go by, but I'm baffled by these more or less positive reviews. I think the only thing I can say for this game is that it at least taps into that childhood nostalgia that a lot of us had when playing games we weren't sure how to complete. That being, if it was open world, we would just wander around aimlessly and do whatever we wanted, and that formed a great deal of our positive memories. I think as an adult, revisiting this game and trying to actually play it as intended was why it felt so distinctly worse than my childhood experience. But that hardly seems like a good selling point for this game, does it? If you don't play it the way it's intended, then you'll have a great time. Plus, even if I try to play the game in the same wandering around method, the clunky controls make that a chore too. It's just a big disappointment overall. Well, now I've scratched my childhood itch to see this game finished, there's no way I'm ever picking it up again. I'd sooner watch the movie and get the better experience out of it. Wait, I forgot about the sumos. Wait, no!
Bad girl. Talking about the sad girl.
Hey, baby! Oh, glad girl!
Talking about bad girl.
Oh.